Ready for something new, different, and perfect for learning bass? You're in the right place. Let's get into it right now. Hi, I'm John Liebman. Every week since way back on June 15th, 2009, I've brought you a new bass player interview. Every week for 933 consecutive weeks. Am I tired of it? No, I like it. But lately, I've been asking people like you, people in the For Bass Players Only community, what would you like to see? Nobody said they didn't like the interviews, but judging from all the conversations I've had, all the survey responses, and perhaps most tellingly, the number of views on the videos of my bass lessons compared to those on my interviews, FBPO followers, for the most part, are more interested in learning bass, which is probably why my Bottom Line Club membership has been growing so fast. So I talked it over with my team, and I've decided to try something new. First, let me put your mind at ease. I'm not saying the interviews are going away completely. I'm just going to make them more of an occasional thing. I mean, hey, if Paul McCartney calls me and says he'd like to do a follow-up interview, this time on video, I'd be happy to do that. Same thing with Carol Kaye or Geddy Lee or Sting. The interviews I have with those folks aren't going anywhere. You can still access them at any time. Just like you can access my interviews with Geezer Butler, Tony Levin, Chuck Rainey, Tim Bogert, Michael Anthony, Chris Squire, Billy Sheehan, Marcus Miller, Charlie Hayden, Victor Wooten, Nathan East, Leland Sklar, Ron Carter, Jeff Berlin, Verdine White, and over 900 others. They're all still there. I just think it's time to do something different. So today, I'm starting this new series with a focus on learning bass. But it's not the same kind of actual bass lessons like in my other weekly videos in the Essence of Groove series, which, by the way, is still going to continue every week, in case you were wondering. But here's what you can look forward to in this new series. I've got a ton of stories from my extensive career as a professional musician, professional bass player, that I think you'll enjoy hearing. And I think you'll find them helpful for your own situation. I've seen and experienced a lot of things over the years, both musically and personally, that I'd like to pass along to you. Stories that are enlightening, informative, educational, and sometimes pretty funny. Now, I'm calling this new series Tales from the Pit and Beyond. Now, not all the stories are literally from my perspective from the pit orchestras of the jillions of Broadway shows I've played, but a lot of them are. Tales from the Pit is made up of real-world stories of a working bass player, the gigs, the takeaways, and everything else, with plenty of laughs along the way, always with a point or a punchline, with insights you can use no matter where you are on your bass journey. Most of the stories are from the 6 years I spent in Miami back in the 80s, and the time I spent in LA in the early 90s. Stories about touring, traveling, recording, writing, people I've met, places I've played. True stories. They've got to be. I couldn't make this stuff up. I have a lot to share from what I learned, sometimes the hard way, and I want you to benefit from those stories. Now, since this is the inaugural episode of TFP, Tales from the Pit, I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go, but I can already sense that it's going to be a fun ride and that it'll get into a groove pretty quickly. Now, as for you, has it ever occurred to you that maybe you're a better bass player than you think you are? Of course, we all have to be realistic. It's important to be self-aware of what we can do and what we can't do yet. Maybe you're a beginner. Maybe you've been playing a little while. Maybe you're an okay bass player. Wherever you are on that spectrum, I know you'll take it seriously, but at the same time, try not to be hard on yourself. I always tell my students, don't go for perfection right away. Go for steady progress. Now, there's a particular reason I'm telling you this right now. My music career really started when I first got down to Miami in 1984. I moved there to go to the University of Miami to get my master's degree in music. As it turned out, I started working almost immediately after I arrived, even though I was in school. It was such a totally different environment from what I was used to, having grown up in the Detroit area. I was very lucky, in a sense, and I learned something right away. The reason I enrolled in school was because there were a lot of things I felt I needed to learn. And, well, that never goes away. At least it shouldn't. But the point is, I didn't feel like I was a major league player in the music world. Somehow, though, people seemed to think more highly of my musical skills than I did. And they started hiring me and recommending me for gigs and shows and projects I never would have pursued because I thought they were out of my league, over my head. It was one sink or swim situation after another, and I was so green. Sometimes I wonder how I even survived. I really focused and I took everything very seriously. I just wanted to get through it, first of all. But of course I wanted to do it well. I was in a whole new world, experiencing so many nationalities and cultures and personalities, very unlike anything I'd ever seen. Not surprisingly, in Miami, I played a lot of Latin shows, and I remember looking at the music so carefully, wanting to play everything just right, with the right feel, giving the music just what it needed. And I noticed in the upper right-hand corner of every page were the letters B-A-J-O. What does that mean, I wondered? Well, I learned pretty quickly that bajo is the Spanish word for bass. Did I mention that I was green? And then in every show, at the end of each star's performance, there was a page with the letters B-O-W-S. Why does it say bows, I wondered? Am I supposed to be playing this on the upright bass using my bow? Then it hit me. Oh, bows. That's what we played when the performers would come back on stage and take their bows. I mean, you can't get any greener than that. But my point is, other people believed in me. For whatever reason, people thought I was better than I thought I was. And I don't know if I would have been able to build enough confidence and accomplish as much as I did had that not been the case. So that's how it all started for me. I was in my 20s, but so what? That doesn't matter. How old are you? Probably not in your 20s. I'm guessing you're over 50, maybe even older than over 50. And you never got far with learning how to play an instrument. Right now you're learning or wanting to learn how to play the bass. If that's you, you are absolutely in the right place. And I think you're going to find this new series especially interesting and helpful. Look, we're all getting older, but you know what? That's okay. It's not so bad, especially when it comes to playing music. What about you? What do you want to do musically? You want to play some classic rock riffs with your buddies, or some blues shuffles, maybe some walking bass, a little funk R&B? You want to play in your church? A lot of my students do that. It's a lot easier for us to do what we want to do than it is for the 20-somethings today who want to make it big. They have to be up on all the current trends. And a lot of times they need to play bass guitar and keyboard bass while singing and maybe even doing some choreography. And all the technology, the apps, the electronics, the pedals, the sounds. My son's really good at all that stuff, but I don't want to do all that. Do you? I mean, look at how much easier we have it. For the most part, amps aren't as heavy as they used to be, so they're a lot easier to lug around, and our backs are thankful for that. Even a lot of basses are lighter than they used to be, which is a lot friendlier on the shoulder. You want to play music you know, songs you've loved for 50 years or more. Now, at the risk of sounding like an old guy, remember when music was good? Remember those amazing classic rock and blues songs from the 60s and 70s? The Beatles, the Stones, Cream, The Who, Creedence, Motown, and then Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, ELO, Boston. That's what I listened to back in the day. And I have a hunch you listen to a similar soundtrack. At For Bass Players Only, I help people over 50 and people older than over 50 who want to play bass because, like me, they love the music from that era. And it's incredibly gratifying to see somebody like that, probably someone like you, playing their favorite music, their favorite songs, and actually grooving on the bass. I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you've dabbled with the bass or maybe guitar because you really wanted to be a guitar player, but there were already more than enough guitar players, so you had to play bass. Sound familiar? That's my story, but it turned out pretty good for me. Or maybe you're a total beginner and you think it would be fun to make music. It is. I've been running this website since 2009, and you know what? It's turned into a cause. It's very sad for me to think of someone going through their entire life without ever experiencing the joy and the pleasure of making music. And I've seen transformations that are absolutely life-changing. I've got students in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I've got students in their 80s. And you know what they're doing? They're learning bass. They're having the time of their life playing music that they love. Wouldn't you love to do that too? I hope you share my enthusiasm for this new series. Leave a comment below with your thoughts, reactions, questions, suggestions, whatever's on your mind. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, take care of that right now so you don't miss out on anything, including my other weekly bass series, The Essence of Groove, with a new bass lesson in every video. Welcome to Tales from the Pit and beyond. Watch for episode 2 next week. Of course, if you're in the Bottom Line Club membership, I'll see you there. And if you haven't joined yet, there's a link right under this video where you can get all the info on the membership and sign up. I'll leave you with this. Remember, you're never too old to groove. Let's make that a movement. Until next time, I'm John Liebman. Let's play bass.